Okay, this question seems intimidating and kind of weird, but honestly, this is just algebra, and as long as we follow the instructions, we shouldn't really have any problem here. So just do what you're told. The relationship between x and y can be written as y equals mx. Okay, well, let's write that out of the question. Y equals mx. Great. If y is 17, when x is equal to a, okay, well, y is 17, x is equal to a, so it's just me following instructions, putting things where I'm told to put them. That's all. What is the value of y when x is equal to 2a? So there is a second piece here. I'm going to write this in a different color to make it clear that these are two different versions of this equation. And so we can't like mix them easily quite yet. So basically the second piece right here is y equals m times 2a. Right? So I don't know the y this time, but they are giving me an x. It's a different x, and so that means it's going to have a different y, and so I'm still substituting 2a in for x, and I got to figure out what that's going to do. So first of all, I would kind of just clean up this green a little bit because I don't like the mixture of the letters and the numbers. I would just want it to look a little bit more by the book as to what algebra is supposed to look like. So that would be y equals 2a, or I'm going to keep it a little different, 2ma. Sleek it like that. Now, many of you are going to notice that we've got a similar piece here. So we don't know what m is, we don't know what a is, but together, ma is equal to 17. So hopefully most of you know that we can just make a substitution. We don't need m by itself. We don't need a by itself. A lot of times in the SAT, we're not substituting for specific variables. We're substituting for like a grouping of variables. And so MA is a group. I don't care what each of the pieces of that group mean. I just care that as a group, it's equal to 17. So I can make this substitution and say y is equal to 2 times 17, which would make y into 34. And that is the answer. But I know that some people are like not good at seeing that kind of stuff, and I just want to give you one other path that you could follow that might help you with the answer. In general, if you are having trouble on an algebra question and it's because there's a lot of letters floating around, it might be the case that you can arithmetize. Meaning, we don't actually care what many of the letters mean, so we can kind of make up some numbers for them. So for example, in this original equation here, 17 equals ma. There are an infinite number of numbers that would multiply together will give me 17. So we actually could pick any combination of them and get the answer. So pick the easiest, most obvious combination and see what happens. So in this case, if m were 17 and a were 1, then this equation would make sense, right? Because we'd have 17 is equal to 17 times 1. That's obviously true. Now we could have picked different numbers. We could have picked something like 34 and a half, right? So 34 times 1/2 is also 17, but why introduce this fraction and make our lives difficult? Just keep it as simple as we can. Now, once we've picked 17 and 1, we just need to carry that through the problem because we've decided that those are the values of m and a, so we have to be consistent. So in the second equation here, where we have y equals m times 2a, well, y is equal to 17, and 2 times a is 2 times 1, so that's just 2. And what do you know? 17 times 2 is still 34. So we get the same answer because we're actually doing the same thing as when we didn't have numbers. The process is the same. And this is why arithmetize can be helpful. If you're having trouble seeing what to do when there's too many variables, sometimes just doing numbers instead gives your brain more to work with and lets you see something that you weren't seeing before. So it doesn't mean that this is the best way to do it. It's the best way if you can't see the other way, if you can't see the algebra. So always remember that these tools like arithmetize, guess and check, plugging points into equations, these are in your back pocket. I prefer to use them as often as I can. But at the least, if you get stuck in certain situations, reach into your back pocket, see if you can use this tool. It might still get you points on a question you'd be otherwise totally stumped on. They really do help give you some extra little boosted points.